not start. You know, but that's such a powerful story, Luana. That's such a it's like, that should be told. People should hear that. You don't have to go into the worst parts of it in order to inspire. Because that, to me, this man, his neck was broken. You went in, and instead of being destroyed by all of that, you picked yourself up and lived life. So who was the inspiration there? There had to be somebody. Okay, you count us down, because I don't want to talk about it before she.
All right.
I want to talk about it on camera.
All right, here we go officially in 3, 2, and 1.
And we're back with Luana Chambers Lawson. So Luana, when we left off just in the last segment, you told us about the massive car accident that you and your mom and dad got into. Can you tell us, how does a person go from that devastation to being what you are right now? At the top of your game, #1 on Amazon in your book category. Like, how does a person transcend life with such a tragedy befalling them at 5 years old?
I think that for me, growing up, I had a lot of naysayers. You know, I had a lot of people who said, you're not going to be anything. You come from nothing, so you're going to be nothing. I had a lot of that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of that sort of like...
Which is terrible. People shouldn't do that.
Yeah, right? For real. There was so much trauma, I think, for all of us. And you know how it is when you're in a really sort of sad state. It's hard to encourage anyone to do anything good because you don't even love yourself. You know, you don't even encourage yourself to do good things. You don't believe in yourself. So I was sort of surrounded by a lot of that type of self-loathing, you know what I mean? And for me, going to school and meeting other kids, like my brother Dennis, me and him are tight till this day. We met in I think my freshman year in high school. You know, he was going through a lot of what I was going through at home. You know, his mother was paralyzed. Her story was really sad. You know, she was just this amazing woman, took a shower, slipped, and hit her head on the toilet bowl and, you know, was unable to take care of herself. You know, kind of everything just sort of went backwards. She couldn't speak anymore, like all of that. And that's what Dennis was going through. And it was so interesting when we met. We were competing against each other. You know, we were both in junior ROTC together, and you know, I was very competitive. You know, always been very competitive. And you know, he's this 7 foot, 300-pound kid. You know, he's huge. And you got me, and I'm like looking up at him, and like, suck, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna run faster than you. I'm gonna do more pull-ups. I'm gonna do more push-ups. Like, it was always a competition between the two of us. We thrived on that, but then we got to know each other and we found out about each other's households, and man, like, we were both just inseparable till this day. I mean, until I moved away from Virginia, you know, we would see each other like every other day. Right. And so I think when you're a kid, and this is why, you know, this whole virtual learning thing makes me so sad for the kids that are coming up. You have to be able to meet other kids who are like you and who are worse off. That is how you live a life of gratitude. I can't frown, right? Like, I don't care what I'm going through. I cannot walk around with a frown on my face. I cannot walk around feeling like, oh, woe is me. Why is life so hard? I can never feel like that because I know what it's like to literally feel like you have nothing. But I also know what it's like to be with other people that you love that are way worse off than you are, right? That have all sorts of disabilities, developmental disabilities that they can't get past, you know, right. Things that they can't cure, you know, you can't shake it off. You know, you wake up every day in pain. My father, growing up, he woke up every single day in pain, but he never took pills. My father, till this day, will not take a pill but his body, because of his paralysis, you know, you can see, when I was a kid, I saw the pain on him. Like, I saw this Marine who's a paralyzed veteran get on the floor every morning at 6:30 a.m. Doesn't matter the day, he gets on the floor every day and he does his push-ups, right? And you could visibly see him in pain. You could see the trembles. You could see everything just, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He did not care. He would still try to stick to some sort of semblance of normalcy for him because that was what he was. He was a machine. You know, he was a soldier, right? Like,
wow.
That was inspiring. But then also you go into school and seeing kids who, you know, one of my closest friends, you know, she was being molested by her mother's boyfriend every night. You know, she ended up getting pregnant by this dude, and her mom kicked her out with the baby, basically blaming her, saying, you know, oh, you seduced my man, right? Like, growing up and you see these types of situations, absolutely. I used to deal with that all the time, right? And then I didn't want to be a girl. Like, that was part of the other conversation, was like, growing up, being a girl for me was a weakness. So I had to literally learn. My father had to teach me the beauty of being a woman. He taught me the beauty of being a girl. Like, I had to learn that, right? Because I felt
That's
like,
a good dad.
right? He taught me that. But I felt like all my life that, you know, that wasn't what I wanted to be. And so it wasn't until I became an adult where I was just like, okay, I'm a woman and I love being a woman and that's what it is and I'm proud. So all of my friends, a lot of my friends that were girls, you know, when I was younger, like Janine and all them, they're very tomboyish like I was. You know, we all kind of were tomboyish and had a bunch of guys we hung out with. We do a lot of gaming, you know, a lot of sports and that type of stuff, you know. So that was kind of, I think that's how I got to this place where I was just like, you know, it was a lot of self-discovery and a lot of opportunity for me to look at other people and say, you know, you deserve better. Let me put myself in the position to where I can help you.
Because you're always thinking about helping other people. I see that, like, in your personal endeavors, you know, all the boards that you belong to, you know, you're always doing something that's going to impact the community at large, not just a feel-good moment, but something that's actually going to change the lives of young people and of people in general in our community. As you know, like your work with museums, like your work with the women's group in Detroit. Tell our listeners a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Black Women Lead is what we're working on in Detroit, Michigan, and it's essentially like 60 or 70 of us, just women, mostly in Detroit. But what we're doing, we have a campaign. It's $1 million campaign. We've already gotten some support from some major foundations and major individual donors, mostly in that Detroit and New York area. But what it is basically just a fund to support Black women who are leading their own businesses or leading organizations and they need support. So it's just a way for us to give them funding without having to jump through a bunch of hoops, which is what you normally see in philanthropic communities and circles. It's like, okay, you got to have this and you got to have that. This fund is not going to function that way. It's all about equity and social justice and restorative justice. So we're trying to honor the work and the dedication of the women who we've identified within the community, who are going to also identify other women within the community that this fund needs to support. So that's what it's about, is rest and prioritizing rest for Black women all throughout the country so that they don't feel like they have to continue to prove themselves in circles where we know that they're doing the good work and they just need somebody to have their back, you know, to let them know that we care and that we love them.
I love that. I like that idea because a lot of like little startups, they need some help. You know, they don't necessarily, you know, we know that Black businesses don't get loans. They don't get grants and funding at the same rate as their other counterparts. So having a place that you can turn to and present your plan and actually have it heard and seen on its merit is a good thing, because often we don't even get to the point where we can present that plan, where anybody can even see that it's a meritorious plan, because it's not, you can't even get your foot in the door to do so. So I love that. And that's a part of who you are, is just kind of, hey, nothing's going to stop me. When people are thinking about what is an American hero, that's what it is. It's somebody that has the strength of character that even in the worst possible moment, they can see a pathway out and start making their own pathway out. I mean, that is the epitome of what the American dream is. That's what it is. And it's not something that's limited to one group of people. You're an example of that, and I just loved and have enjoyed having you today. And I want to tell everybody to make sure and pick up A Project Manager's Guide to Grant Writing, your new book. But just check out Luana, because Luana has some cool stuff happening. If you're interested in investing, Luana, what's your podcast? Tell them about your podcast.
The podcast is called Real Management Talk with LJ and Jocelyn. Jocelyn D'Antoni is my girl, one of my other partners, and that's the podcast. It's on all of your major platforms. Check it out. Real Management Talk with LJ and Jocelyn.
Real Management Talk, and it's that's what I'm saying. Like, this is A Project Manager's Guide to Grant Writing is just one thing that you're doing. Real Management Talk is another thing that you're doing. Then you've got the investments that you're doing as well with Tacit growth strategies. I mean, you're doing something. You're doing like, I'm wondering if you're Jamaican, because you have like 20 jobs. Are you sure you're Haitian and not Jamaican?
Close enough, right? Close enough. I got Jamaican relatives on my coming side, so yeah, big up. What's up?
I should have known there was some Jamaicans somewhere, because Jamaicans are known for having like 25 jobs. I've got a business for that.
My husband's Jamaican too, so I guess we got a little bit of all of that in there.
Oh my gosh! So I guess he has his own like little empire he's growing over there too.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you for being my guest today, Luana, and to my listeners. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this San Antonio transplant and young Shiro, one of my personal Shiros here in our beautiful city. You've been listening to On the Record with Tiffany, and just a little public service announcement. Please wear your mask, social distance, and wash your hands. Wash your hands. And just make sure, we're all in this together. There's not a cavalry coming. We can be the saviors to our brothers and sisters in our community. So wash your hands, socially distance, and enjoy the little things in life. You've been listening to On the Record with Tiffany.